Good evening, students and viewers. Today we will be solving equations that require finding common denominators and using the quadratic formula. Please like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the channel. My Cash App is with the $ up front, MLBFAN. Here we see an equation in the form of n divided by 2n plus 1 equals 2 divided by n minus 3. So first we need to make 1 a fraction, and this will yield us n divided by 2n plus 1 plus 1 divided by 1 is equal to 2 divided by n minus 3. First we need to incorporate parentheses around 2n plus 1 and n minus 3. Now, let's look at the left-hand side of the equation. We need to multiply 1 divided by 1 by 2n plus 1 because that's the LCD on the left-hand side of the equation. And the LCD stands for the least common denominator. So let's multiply 1 divided by 1 by 2n plus 1 divided by 2n plus 1. And that is going to yield us n divided by 2n plus 1 plus 1 times 2n plus 1 divided by 1 times 2n plus 1 is equal to 2 divided by n minus 3. Now we need to distribute. Okay, so it's going to be 1 times 2n and 1 times 1 in the numerator and denominator. So n divides 2n plus 1 plus 1 times 2n plus 1 times 1 divides 1 times 2n plus 1 times 1 is equal to 2 divided by n minus 3. And let's have this marinate for a little bit. So let's let this marinate in our heads here. Now the next step is n divides 2n plus 1 plus 2n plus 1 divides 2n plus 1 is equal to 2 divides n minus 3. And let's incorporate parentheses around the 2n plus 1 in the numerator and denominator. And now let's let this marinate. And now let's move on to the next page. So we left off at n divided by 2n plus 1 plus 2n plus 1 divides 2n plus 1 is equal to 2 divided by n minus 3. On the left-hand side now we can bring this together because they both have the same denominator. So n plus 2n plus 1 divides 2n plus 1 is equal to 2 divided by n minus 3. Now, in the numerator on the left-hand side, that's going to simplify to 3n plus 1 divided by 2n plus 1, and let's incorporate parentheses around 3n plus 1, is equal to 2 divided by n minus 3. Now we can cross multiply. So cross multiply. So 3n plus 1 times n minus 3 is equal to 2. Cross that out there. Is equal to 2 times 2n plus 1. So let's rewrite this. 3n plus 1 times n minus 3 is equal to 2 times 2n plus 1. So when we're foiling on the left-hand side, it's outer, outer, inner, inner. So it's going to be 3n times n plus 3n times negative 3 plus 1n plus 1 times negative 3. And then FOIL on the right-hand side, it's going to be 2 times 2n plus 2 times 1. And that's going to yield 3n squared minus 9n plus 1n minus 3 is equal to 4n plus 2. So we have minus 9n plus 1n on the left-hand side of the equation. That's going to break down to minus 8n. So 3n squared minus 8n minus 3 is equal to 4n plus 2. And let's set this equation equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 4n to both sides and subtract 2 to both sides. So this is going to yield 3n squared minus 12n minus 5 is equal to 0. Let's have this marinate for a second, and then we will introduce the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula states x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times ac, all divided by 2a. So let's bring back the equation of 3n squared minus 12n minus 5 is equal to 0. Our a will be 3, our b will equal negative 12, and c will equal negative 5. So x is equal to negative of a negative 12 plus or minus the square root of negative 12 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 5. All divides by 2 times a, and a is 3. So now we're going to have x is equal to negative of a negative 12 is 12 plus or minus the square root of negative 12 squared is 144 minus 4 times 3 times negative 5, which is minus 60, because 4 times 3 is 12, times negative 5 is negative 60. So 144 minus a negative 60 under the square root, divided by 2 times 3. X is equal to 12 plus or minus the square root of, and this is going to turn into addition because minus a negative flips to addition. So 144 minus a negative 60 turns into 204. So now all divided by 2 times 3. So x is equal to 12 plus or minus, and the square root of 204 breaks down to 4 times 51, all divided by 2 times 3. So x is equal to 12 plus or minus the square root of 4 times 51 divided by 2 times 3. And we need to know this rule of the square root of AB is equal to the square root of A times the square root of B. So x is equal to 12 plus or minus the square root of 4 times the square root of 51 all over 2 times 3. And let's have this marinate for a little bit here. And now let's move on to the next page. Give it a minute or so. Okay. So x is equal to 12 plus or minus square root of 4, square root of 51, all divides 2 times 3. So x equals 12 plus or minus square root of 4 is equivalent to 2, and times square root of 51, all divides 2 times 3. Now we can factor out a 2, so x is equal to 2 times 6 plus or minus the square root of 51, all divides 2 times 3. Now we see the 2's can cancel out, so this will yield x is equal to, let's bring it down some here, x is equal to 6 plus or minus the square root of 51 divided by 3. And this will split in the form of 2 answers, so x is equal to 6 plus square root of 51 divided by 3, and x is equal to 6 minus square root of 51 divided by 3. Let's have this marinate for a little bit. So, if you need math help, text 559-744-3169 for services. Please donate on the Cash App with the $sign up front, MLBFAN. Thank you so much, and let's learn math together. By the way, I tutor for math at the university, college, high school, and middle school levels. Text messages will receive a faster response. Please text me about the math course that you need help with, and I will get back to you with a prompt response via text. Thank you so much, and let's learn math together.